Hey there, everybody. Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV, and we are playing some Strat-O-Matic. That's right, Strat-O-Matic 1976. Hard to find set. This is I guess, one of the early versions of the set because this side was always two-sided. So I don't know if I know they printed it out in 76 or 77. I don't know if they've ever done it since. They may do it again. Who knows? But I've got a nice set, and it's going to be an April 8th game between the New York Yankees and the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. And this is an advanced set. This is not a super advanced set, so there's certain things I don't have. But it's going to be Jim Slayton versus Jim Catfish Hunter, and let's get to it. Got some charts over here to my left. No need for the ballpark effects because they weren't in play yet. And we're going to roll. The white die is going to tell us the column. And then we're going to add the two blue dice. And remember that you've got, I think it's about 212 different possible results, 36 on each column. So the righty Jim Slayton is facing the lefty Mickey Rivers. Let's do it. All right, so I don't see that white die at all. I got it at an angle there that doesn't allow me to see it. So let's kind of move this farther down. There we go. All right, it's a column 3, so that's off the batter against a righty. So that's a column 3 and a 6, and that a 1 to 14 single, but we rolled a 15. And that'll be a line out to second base. So it's L4. So Rivers hits it on the screws, but ripped right at the second baseman, Pedro Garcia. So that's one down. Here's Roy White. Roy White is a switch hitter, so he'll be batting lefty against the righty Jim Slayton. And that is a column 1, so that'll be on White's card right here. And that's a 7, so that's ball 4. So White walks, and he's a threat to steal. He is an A stolen base guy. And a stolen base guy. And what's it going to be here? Let's see. Got the charts folded up. So it's 1 to 15. He's being held 1 to 13. And that's all we're doing today. So 1 to 13, and we did not use the 7. So let's use the 7, and he's safe with a stolen base. So Roy White steals second base. Thurman Munson is up now. Now, this is the Yankee team, the 76 Yankee team that went to the World Series. Jim Slayton checks in for the sign, sets and deals, and again, column 1 against a right-handed pitcher, and it's a 9, and that's popped up in the infield. Both the shortstop and second baseman. At short, you have Robin Yount. At second base, you have Garcia, but it's going to be the second baseman who takes it. The Yankee lineup for today is Rivers, White, Munson, Chambliss, Gamble, and Nettles, Randolph, Dempsey, and Mason. Catfish Hunter on the mound. For the Brewers, it's Moore, Money, and Scott, Porter, Aaron, and Lescano, and Sharp, Yount, and Garcia, with Jim Slayton on the mound. All right, so that is 2 outs, and Roy White is at second base. Got his lead. Looking over there is Slayton. He's facing the left-hander, Chris Chambliss. Here's a pitch. Oh, I don't think we threw that one. And this is a 4 this time against a lefty, and Slayton against a lefty with a 4, and that's a ground ball. Third baseman, X. Third baseman for the Brewers is Don Money, and Money is a 2 third baseman. That's all there is here on this. This is not super advanced. So all I have is a 2. Oh, there's a plus for Charlie Moore as a catcher. So I could have. Oh, it's Daryl Porter that is who's catching. I could have subtracted that from the stolen base. I don't play this a lot, so I'm going to warm up a little bit here on the stream. And let's see. Come on. There he is. There's Daryl Porter, and Daryl Porter would be a +1 on a stolen base. Okay, so we're checking the third baseman, and the third baseman is Don Money, and Money is going to be a 2. It's a pretty good third baseman. So we're going to look at third base. We're going to look at a 2, and we rolled an 8. And that 8 is going to be a ground ball. Oh no, we're going to actually, you know what? I'm using the wrong chart for this, I believe. Yeah, because I don't have an error number on these guys. There's no error number. So since we don't have an error number, we're going to use this other chart. And second baseman, third baseman, and an 8 is going to be a ground out to end the inning. So G5 over to first, and that retires the side. So the Yankees failed to score, failed to drive in the runner who had reached second base. And here come the Brewers. If you're a Brewer fan, and I know a few Brewer fans, they're out there. I know Kurt Berglund, I believe, is a Brewer fan. And Jim Catfish Hunter. Let's see if we can track him down. Here he is. We're using the advanced side of Jim Catfish Hunter. It's Charlie Moore. Charlie Moore played catcher, infield, outfield, very versatile. Good ball player. Catfish Hunter's a right-hander. This is the last season that Catfish Hunter was effective at the level that he had been with the Athletics. So he has a good season in 1976, a better season in 75, but still does well in 76. Let's look at his stats. 76, he was 17 and 15, so he had 32 decisions, the 3.50 ERA, 299 innings pitched, 268 hits allowed, walked 68, struck out 173, gave up a lot of home runs, but he always had a tendency to give up a lot of home runs, so that's nothing new. So let's roll here for, what happened to my white die? Where did that go? Did that vanish? Well, we're going to use a yellow die now because, oh, there it is. You know what? I'm going to use a yellow die because it's a little bit larger than the white die. All right, so here goes. I don't even. Oh yeah, I do have to roll that D20 because there are splits. All right, so here's Charlie Moore, steps in the box. He bats from the right side, faces Jim Hunter, who winds and deals. And that is a 4, so that's going to be off Catfish Hunter. A 4-6, and that is a drive. And that's going to split the outfielders and roll to the wall. After it is Rivers, and he gets it in, but Moore is into second base with a leadoff double. So just like that, the Brewers have a runner at second base here. Don Money steps in the box. He's a right-handed hitter. And Hunter looks over at Moore, who's got decent speed for a catcher. And here's a pitch. So that's going to be a 3 on Don Money's card and a 6, and that's ball 4. So Catfish starts off shaky, allowing a leadoff double and now a walk. That puts runners on first and second. Still nobody out. And it's going to be George Scott, right-handed power hitter, first baseman. I remember him with the Reds early on. And here's a pitch by Hunter. That's a 1, so that's on Scott. And an 8 is strike 3. And Hunter throws a fastball by Scott, who's swinging for the fences. No surprise there. And here comes Daryl Porter. Daryl Porter batting cleanup. So they're expecting to get a lot out of Daryl Porter here in 1976. And I don't know if they did or not. He batted .208 with 5 home runs and 400 at bats. But this is the first game of the season, so I guess they didn't know that was going to happen. So playing actual lineups here, starting off the season. And here's the pitch from Catfish. Again, that's a 1 and a 7. Strike 3, back-to-back Ks for Catfish. So gave up a double, gave up a walk, and now he struck out. Back-to-back Brewers. And here comes one of the stars in the twilight of his career. It's Hank Aaron, number 44. Yes, sirree. So Jim Catfish Hunter faces Hank Aaron here in opening day in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Jim Hunter sets and deals to Hank Aaron. And that is a 6. So that's going to be off Hunter's card. And it's a 4, and that's going to be a ground ball third baseman X. Nettles is a 2 or a 1 for sure. He is a 2 or a 1. He is a 2. And we rolled a 7. So that'll be an out, a 3 out, and a 3 out is a runner on first is going to second, providing there is no completion of a double play. Okay. Is out at second. So it's a fielder's choice, but there's 2 outs, so he'll throw it over to first, and that retires the side. So the Brewers, no runs, no hits, 1 left for the Yankees, and no runs and 1 hit, 2 left for the Brewers. Hank Aaron bounces out to Nettles at third, and we move to the top of the second inning, playing a little Strat-O-Matic here late night. Thursday night. I need to go to work in the morning, but I had a little energy, a burst of energy. And Slayton takes the mound. Here he'll be facing Oscar Gamble, the left-hander. I remember Oscar Gamble with his very well-known and quickly recognized afro. And here's a pitch from Slayton. He's a lefty, so that's going to be a 4 against a lefty on Slayton's card, and a 10, and that's a fly ball center field X. Center fielder is Lescano. So Sixto Lescano is a 3 at center field. We rolled an 8, and that's going to be a catch by Lescano. So he runs it down to retire Oscar Gamble. Next up is Greg Nettles, pitch from Slayton, another lefty, and that'll be a 6, so that'll be off Slayton's card, and that's a 10, and that's bounced to short. Shortstop Yount. I didn't write any of these numbers, and I should have. Yount at short is a 3. And we rolled a 15. Shortstop. 15, and that's a ball that he boots, and Nettles is on at first. It's going to be an E6, an error on Robin Yount, and here comes Willie Randolph. Nettles not good speed at all. His letter stolen base is a C. Not running with that. Here's a pitch to Willie Randolph, and that's a 3 against the righty. So we're looking at Willie Randolph's column 3 and a 5, and that is grounded to shortstop A, and that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play off the top of my head. And the ground ball A, completion of double play. So it's a 6-4-3. It's Yount to Garcia over to Scott, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, the error, none left. And we go to the bottom of the second inning, playing Strat-O-Matic. Opening day, 1976 Yankees. This is actually the first season, and the team that I replayed, the first time I ever replayed a team, it was the 76 Yankees. I was living in New York, at the time. And it's going to be Jim Catfish Hunter facing Sixto Lezcano. And here is the pitch. And that's a 3 against a righty. So that's going to be off Lezcano's card. And a 6 is strikeout. So that's the third strikeout of the day for Hunter. Next up is Bill Sharp. We're using one of those cards that they sell. Bill Sharp, we got as close as we could to his stats. I could have made one, but off the viewer, but I didn't bother to do that. That's going to be a 3 against the righty, Hunter. And a 10, it's bounced to second base. Randolph up with it, sidearms it to first for out number 2. And here's Robin Yount. Hunter winds and deals to Yount. It's a 1 and an 8, and that's a drive. And it's going to be cut off by the center fielder Rivers for a single for Yount. Had it gotten by him, it would have been a triple on a 1-2. Would have been a triple for Yount, but it's a 2-out single, and here comes Pedro Garcia. I made a Pedro Garcia card. He played, I think, he was traded to Detroit, started the year with Milwaukee, and his card is with I think it's Detroit. So I just made a quick copy so I wouldn't have to pull the card out of that set. All right, here's Pedro Garcia against Jim Catfish Hunter. 2 out, 1 on. Bottom of the second here in Milwaukee. And opening day, pitch from Hunter. And that's going to be a 2 on Pedro Garcia's card. And a 5, and that's bounced up the middle. But right there is Mason. Flips to Randolph at second for the force. And that ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left, and no score. And we go to the top of the 3rd inning, playing a classic, hard-to-find 1976 set of Strat-O-Matic. And Jim Slayton will be facing the bottom of the order. Rick Dempsey, who is with Baltimore. It's a copy for playing. His card is with Baltimore. And it's going to be Jim Mason, and then it's going to turn over, and we're going to be to the top of the order with Mickey Rivers. See what Rick Dempsey can do here. So it's going to be a 6 on Slayton's card against a right-hander, and an 8 that's popped up, middle of the infield. Over is Garcia, and he's energetically calling for the ball, and he makes the catch. So 1 out. And here's Jim Mason, left-handed hitter. Excuse me, that's a 3 against a righty on Mason's card, and a 3 is lined and caught by the third baseman, Don Money. So Mason rips it in the opposite direction, but right at Money, who is positioned perfectly. That's 2 outs now for Slayton. And here comes Mick the Quick, Mickey Rivers. And here's the pitch. And that's a 6, so that's going to be off Slayton against a left-hander. And an 8 is popped up right side. First baseman Scott near the stands reaches in and comes up with it to end the inning. So Mickey Rivers pops up. And we go to the bottom of the 3rd. No runs, no hits, none left in that inning for the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the 3rd in a 0-0 tie. Got a pretty good game going here. Watching a very hard-to-find Strat-O-Matic set. Jim Catfish Hunter on the mound for the Yankees. Their ace came over as a free agent in 1975. This is his 2nd year for the Yankees. By his 3rd year, 77, he pitches, I'd say, half the season. Hurt most of the half of the year. And with arm trouble, he struggled with arm trouble throughout the year. I mean, you know, he was the workhorse for the A's in the 70s. So it's going to be Catfish Hunter here versus leadoff hitter Charlie Moore, who doubled leading off the 1st inning. And Hunter winds and deals against Moore, and it's going to be a 4, so it's going to be on Hunter's card, and a 4, and that is a end power home run. And against right-handed pitcher, he does have power. So 1-8, and no, it's a 9, so that's going to be pulled down the line and fair ball into the left field corner. Digging for second is Moore, and White, the throw to second, the tag by Randolph, not in time, so it's the second double today for Charlie Moore, both times leading off the inning. So here's Don Money now. Money walked in that first inning. Pitch from Hunter, and that's a 1 against the right-hander, and a 10, and that's bounced to short. We're going to look more back to second base. And that's 1 out. Here's George Scott, and that's a 5, so that'll be off Hunter's card against a righty, a 5 and a 5, and that's bounced to second base, Randolph. So Moore's going to move over, but there's a chance for an error. Randolph is most likely a 2 off the top of my head. Let's see. He is a 2. So we roll a 17, so that's going to be an out. And runner will move to third. G4. And here comes Daryl Porter, left-handed hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's their cleanup hitter. I wouldn't expect him to be a cleanup hitter, but he is. Later on, I think he learns to hit in the 80s. But in this year, he batted about 200. All right, so 2 out. Runner at third base, Charlie Moore. And Jim Catfish Hunter sets and deals. And that's going to be a 5 against the lefty. So that's that middle column against lefties. And we got a 10, and that's going to be a catcher X. Munson, most likely a 2. And as a catcher, no, Munson is a 1 catcher. A 1 catcher, we rolled a 3, and a 1 catcher is going to be, oh no, it's going to be a pass ball. It gets by Munson, and that's going to allow Charlie Moore to score. Even on a 1 catcher, that 3 is so low that ends up being a pass ball. And then the pitch to Porter, it's popped up. And that will retire the side, but not before the Brewers strike first, score and run on a double, a ground ball, and then a pass ball on Munson. Could have gone either way, wild pitch pass ball, but they charged the pass ball to Munson. That's going to be an unearned run. And we go to the top of the fourth now. The Brewers lead at 1-0. It's going to be Munson, Chambliss, and Gamble. Okay, it's going to be Roy White leading off, then Munson, then Chambliss. So I called it as being Munson leading off, but no, it's Roy White. Switch hitter bats from the left side against Jim Slayton. It's 1-0 Brewers here in the top of the fourth. And that's going to be a 4 against the lefty, Roy White. And a 5, and that's going to be a fly ball in the gap, left center field. And after it is Lezcano, and Lezcano catches up to it. 1 away. Thurman Munson is up. He popped up to the second baseman in his first at bat. So that's going to be a 1 against the righty. And a 4, and that is bounced out to short. Scooped up by Yount over to first, and that's out number 2. Here's Chris Chambliss. Left-handed hitter, bounced out to the third baseman. That is a 2 and a 7, and that is line base hit to right for Chambliss. 2-out single. He's on at first here for Oscar Gamble, power hitting Oscar Gamble, left-handed hitter. And here's the pitch from Slayton. That's a 1 and an 8, and that's popped up. Shallow center field. Backing up is Yount. Racing in is Lezcano, who's going to get it, and it's Yount. Makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch on that pop-up. So no runs, 1 hit, 1 left, and we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Jim Catfish Hunter has given up only an unearned run. Run scored on a pass ball with 2 outs. And he's facing Hank Aaron here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's a pitch. And that is a 3. And an 8 is line base hit to left for Hank Aaron. Sure to go to the Hall of Fame. Next up is Sixto Lezcano. Hunter checks with Munson. Looks over to Aaron, who doesn't have much of a lead. Here's the pitch to Lezcano, and that's a 4. And a 7, and that is lined and caught by the second baseman, Willie Randolph. So it's ripped by Lezcano, but right into the glove of Randolph, who went up for it and came back down. All right, Bill Sharp now with 1 on and 1 out. Here's the pitch. Did I just throw this? I don't know if I did or not. All right, and that's going to be a 6. So that is, he's a lefty, by the way. So Bill Sharp is a lefty, and that's going to be a 6 and an 8, and that's popped up right side. Chambliss in fair territory makes the catch. 2 away. So Sharp pops up. And here comes Robin Yount. A youngster with a big future here with Milwaukee. Robin Yount. And Hunter checks in with Munson for the sign. Sets and deals. Aaron will be going on contact with 2 outs. And that is a 3 and a 7. And that is a line drive and caught by the shortstop Mason to end the inning. So no runs, 1 hit, 1 left, and it's 1-0 Milwaukee after 4 innings. Go to the top of the 5th. The Yankees haven't been able to really get their offense going at all against Jim Slayton. It's going to be Greg Nettles leading off. Greg Nettles with good power. Good glove. That's going to be a 1 against a righty and a 6, and that's ball 4. So Nettles trots down at first base. Next up is Willie Randolph. And he's a B bunter. So we are going to square with him. And he will sacrifice. See what he rolls. And that is a 3, and that's going to be a batter beats out bunt. Runners advance 1 base. So he bunts it, and it's perfect, and they're not going to get him. So it's an infield single, bunt single for Willie Randolph. Puts runners on first and second. And Dempsey, is he going to hit away or is he going to square? I believe he's going to square. He's another B. And that is a 9. Which is a batter thrown out at third. Oh, no. So it's, we'll say it's bunted to the third baseman or to the pitcher. And they throw to third, third baseman turns around and they got the wheel play. And it's going to be a 5-6. And that puts runners on first and second for the light-hitting Jim Mason. So good defense right now for the Brewers. Money was right on that ball that was bunted a little bit too hard down the line. And he turned around and he whipped it to Yount, who beat Nettles to the bag at third. So here's a pitch to Mason, runners on first and second. That's going to be a 5 against the lefty, and an 11, and that's ball 4. So the bases are loaded for the Yankees. Bases loaded, and Mickey Rivers comes up. And in the 5th inning, they're going to play infield in. Now let's see if I have that chart available to me. There it is, infield in chart. See what happens. Here's a pitch from Slayton. And that's going to be a 6. So it's Slayton against a lefty and a snake eyes, and that's right to the pitcher, but with a... Oh, that bullet is if the pitcher is tired. It's, right, the double cross would be the hit when there is an infield in. So that's hit to the pitcher, ground ball B, and let's see, ground ball is okay. Runner on third is out at home. Others, obviously, right? So that's going to be the pitcher gets it, and he throws home. So Slayton gets it and whips it to Porter for the force, and they force Willie Randolph at home, 1-2. Bases are still loaded. You got Dempsey at third, Mason at second, and Mickey Rivers at first. So a little dribbler right back to the mound, an easy play. Slayton just whipped it right to the catcher at home plate, Porter, for the force. Let's make sure we're not missing anything on that. Bases loaded situation, except for instance with runner on third is out. The batter is safe. Other events. The following exceptions: ground ball resulting in a hit or an error, ground ball followed by a double T, which regarded as, yeah, that's what I thought. Ground ball situation exception, bases loaded situation. The result of the bases loaded situation may be found below on the chart. Okay. And here comes Roy White, bases loaded, 2 outs. So let's see if Slayton can maneuver his way out of this potential disaster. It's 1-0 Brewers. Yankees have the bases loaded here with 2 outs, and it's a switch hitting Roy White. Here's a pitch from Slayton. That's a 3, so that's going to be on White's card against the righty. And it's going to be a 6, and that is line base hit. 1 run comes home. Scoring is Dempsey, and right behind him is Mason. Going to third is Rivers, and the Yankees, thanks to Roy White's 2-run, 2-out single, have taken a 2-1 lead here in the top of the 5th. And he drives in 8 and 9. We're going to give him credit for that. So 2 big RBIs for Roy White. Comes up clutch. And here comes Thurman Munson. Slayton is noticeably ruffled. And out goes Porter to calm him down. Not happy. He was 1 pitch away from getting out of that bases loaded situation. And now he's got to face Thurman Munson, who's one of the better hitting catchers in all of baseball. And here's the set and the deal from Slayton to Munson. It's a 4 against the righty and an 8, and that's bounced to second base. Pedro Garcia. Pedro Garcia is going to be a 4 second baseman. Ouch. We rolled a 6. He's a 4 second baseman, and that gets by him. That gets by him. Does not have the range to get to that ball. And 1 runner advance, 1 base. So 1 run will score. RBI for Munson. A seeing eye grounder that for an instant there you thought that Pedro Garcia was going to get to, and he was not able to. And the Yankees lead it 3-1 now. Scoring and going to second is White. Scoring is Rivers. RBI for Munson. 3-1 Yankees, and up comes Chris Chambliss. So Slayton go 8. Here's a pitch. All right, that's going to be a 3 and a 9, and that is lined and caught by Garcia to end the inning. Pedro Garcia, the right place at the right time to grab that liner by Chambliss, who hit it on the screws. But the Yanks do some damage here in Milwaukee. They score 3 runs on 1, 2, 3 hits, a couple of walks. And they lead it 3-1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Yanks scored 3 in the top of the 5th inning, and they lead it 3-1. We're in the bottom of the 5th. It's Pedro Garcia, Charlie Moore, and Don Money coming up to bat against Jim Catfish Hunter, who got off to a rough start but settled down pretty well. And here we are in the bottom of the 5th. Let's see what happens. Now, there's 220 different dice combinations that you can potentially roll with Strat-O-Matic. That's the nice thing about it. That's a 4, so that's going to be off the pitcher card against a righty. And it's a 7, and that is a 1-2 single. And we roll a 1, and that's bounced up the middle and through for a base hit. So a leadoff single for Pedro Garcia. C&I single. He needed a 1 or a 2 to get it, and he happened to get it. Wow. All right, so here's Charlie Moore with 1 out, with no out and 1 on. And that's a 3. And that's off Charlie Moore's card, and an 11, and that's going to be a 1-15 deep drive. Charlie Moore gets a hold of one and drives it deep, 1-15, and that, oh no, it's a 20. It's caught at the warning track by left fielder Roy White. So Roy White kept on backing up, and that ball, for some reason, stayed in the park here in Milwaukee, and it's 1 out. Next up is Don Money. Don Money today walked and grounded out. That's going to be a 5 off of Hunter, and an 8, and that's a ground ball to shortstop X. So our shortstop Mason, off the top of my head, I say he's a 3. I don't know if that's true or not. No, he's a 4. Okay, so Jim Mason is a 4. And what do we roll there? An 11. I'm going to use that 11, and it's going to be out with no runner on base. 4. So 4 out is no runner. If no runner are forced, others hold. With 1 out, runner is forced. Okay, so it's 6-4, and they get a force out of it. So Money now is on at first, on a fielder's choice. 2 outs, and here comes George Scott. Big George Scott, big, powerful, towering first baseman. He started off with the Red Sox, and now he is with the Brewers. And that's going to be a 5. That's going to be off of Hunter's card, that 5. And then 5 is a bouncer to second base. And that's a 5 off the pitcher, and against the righty, of course, it's a 5 and a 5, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. Second baseman is Randolph. Randolph should be a 2. Willie Randolph should be a 2, and he is. And all right, and we roll a 10. So that's going to be a bounce to Randolph and over to first to retire the side. So Scott grounds out to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, a leadoff single by Pedro Garcia. And we go to the top of the 6th inning, playing Strat-O-Matic 1976. Now, you're not going to find this season without paying a whole lot of money. And that's disappointing because I'm sure a lot of guys would like to play 76, but guess what? You can't do it. Not allowed. The company says, nope. Okay, no 76 for you. Oscar Gamble against Jim Slayton here in the top of the 6th. Now, Slayton was shaky in the top of the 5th, gave up a couple of walks, gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. So they're going to keep a close eye on him and potentially pull him if he continues to struggle with location and so forth. Here goes. All right. Against a lefty, it's going to be a 6 against a lefty, and that's a 7, and that's a fly ball, right field. Coming over is Sharp, and he makes the catch. Now, as you know, Strat doesn't offer all the players, so Bill Sharp happens to be a one of those generic player cards that's close to what he did. Greg Nettles, another left-handed hitter against Jim Slayton. That's a 2, so that's going to be Nettles. And a 10, and that's going to be a drive in the gap, in the right center field gap. That's going to one hop off the wall, and Nettles is digging for second. Here's the throw from the right fielder, Sharp, and Nettles slides in there ahead of the throw for a 1-out double. So Nettles stands at second base here. He's 1 for 2 now. He also walked in that 5th inning, and up comes Willie Randolph, who's 1 for 2. He singled in that 5th inning. So it's a 1-out double to right center field by Greg Nettles, and Willie Randolph comes to bat. Pitch from Slayton. That's going to be a 6. That's off Slayton. Willie Randolph is a righty and a 9, and that's a fly ball. Center field. Drifting over is Lascano. He settles under it and squeezes it for out. Now that's a B fly ball, so we got to take a look and see if there's an advance on that. Runner on third scores, others hold, so no. All right, so Dempsey's with Baltimore, so I made a copy of his card so I wouldn't have to pull the card from Baltimore. And then when someday I get back to playing Baltimore, I got to grab the card from New York and back and forth. So I just made a copy for playing the game, and that's it. Rick Dempsey with 2 outs and Nettles at second base. Here's a pitch from Jim Slayton. That's a 2, so that's going to be off of Dempsey's card, the 2 column, and a 5, and that's bounced to short. Over is Yount, throws him out, and that retires the side. So no runs on 1 hit and 1 left, and we move to the bottom of the 6th inning here in Strat-O-Matic. 1976 season. Hard to find season. You're not finding this season anywhere without paying a good chunk of change. And that's disappointing because I know that a lot of guys would love to play 1976. This happened to be the first season I ever played. So this is really, when I play 76, it takes me back. Brings a lot of memories back. And as you can see, the team that I'm playing every day, the Yankees, I protected them with these sleeves. And because I do kind of handle them every day, since that's the team that I'm replaying. And that was my first replay back in 1977, the summer of 77. I replayed the Yankees 76 season using one of those big, thick blue marble notebooks and a ruler, and I made my own scorecards every day. All right, so here's Daryl Porter, left-handed hitter. Here's a pitch from Hunter. That's a 5 against a lefty, and that's a 7. That's strike 3. And nice curveball from Hunter gets Daryl Porter out in front for a strikeout. That is Hunter's 4th strikeout of the day. So we'll put a little 4 there in the corner. Hank Aaron, played for the Brewers. This is his last season in 1976. So we are saying goodbye to Hank Aaron. Here's a pitch, and that's a 6, so that's going to be off of Hunter's 6 column, and an 11 is a ground ball pitcher, X. Okay, so I think all pitchers were 2s back then. That's the way they did it. So what did we roll? We rolled a 1. That's a ball that's passed up the middle, and into center field for a base hit for Hank Aaron, and that's his second single of the day. So that's pretty good. Hank Aaron with 2 hits today. Sixto Lezcano comes up to bat. He's a right-handed hitter, center fielder for the Brewers. And Hunter looks in with Munson for the sign. He sets and deals. That's a 1. And that's going to be off Lezcano's card. And an 11 is going to be hit hard right at the shortstop Mason, who flips to Randolph, the throw to Chambliss, and it's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. So Yankee defense gets him out of that inning. We go to the top of the 7th. Strat-O-Matic in 1976. Opening day, Jim Catfish Hunter versus Jim Slayton. The Battle of the Jims. Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV. All right, Jim Mason leads off here in the top of the 7th inning. This is opening day, April 8th, 1976. Jim Slayton's still on the mound. Now, Jim Slayton can go 8. His point of weakness begins in the 8th, and Jim Catfish Hunter's point of weakness begins in the 9th. Pretty interesting. All right, so we're still good. This is 1976. This is when pitchers actually were pitchers, right? So it's a 1 against a righty. It's going to be off of Mason's right-handed side. And as of, I think, 71, Strat-O-Matic started making lefty versus righty. And that was a big move. I think they saw that Sports Illustrated had come out with a game with righty versus lefty, so they decided they were going to do the same on the backside of their basic card. So they kept their basic card for those who love the basic side, but then they added a twist. So you could do a little bit more managing. You could do that lefty, righty, righty, lefty, and so forth strategy. So it's a 1 and an 8, and we're going to go to a bouncer, and that's in the hole. That's going to be a long throw for Yount and right on the money. And he gets Jim Mason, the light-hitting shortstop for the Yankees. He splits time with Fred Chicken Stanley. Mickey Rib, until they get Bucky Dent in 70, I think it was 77, I believe. Bucky Dent comes over from Chicago. So that is, and he stays with the Yanks for about 4 or 5 years. All right, here's Mickey Rivers. Mick the Quick, they call him. That's going to be a 2 and a 9er, and that's bounced right at Yount this time. And he better hurry and just gets Mick the Quick by half a step. So you don't have much time to get rid of that ball when it's Mickey Rivers, but it was hit right at Yount. So Roy White with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. He's a switch hitter. Now White singled. He picked up 2 big RBIs, breaking a 1-1 tie in the top of the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2 today with a walk and a stolen base in that first inning. Here's a pitch. All right, and that's a 5 against the lefty. He's a switch hitter batting lefty against the righty, Jim Slayton. And that's an 11, and that's ball 4. So that's a second walk of the day for Roy White. And White had, doesn't say how many stolen bases he had. But I know he didn't have all that many. He wasn't like a league leader or anything like that, so I'm not going to steal twice with him. Thurman Munson's up with, put it in the wrong spot. Look at that. That's funny. Got distracted by something. Probably my dog, waiting for him to start barking. All right, so 2 outs. So White will be going on contact. Slayton checks in with Daryl Porter and sets and deals. And that's going to be a 2. That's off Munson. And an 11, and that is popped up right side of the infield. In fair ground, it's George Scott. And that retires the side. So Munson pops up. No runs, no hits. 1 left, the walk. And we move to the bottom of the 7th in a 3-1 Yankees lead here in on opening day 1976. Come over to baseball, the Baseball Association Facebook group, Universal Baseball Association Facebook group, and join us over there. I believe I posted some pictures of my house that I grew up in and that I used to race home from school to roll some dice and roll some 1976 replay dice. That was the great time. Jim Catfish Hunter against Bill Sharp. And you can see the generic card that Strat-O-Matic offers. And it's Bill Sharp against a righty. So that's going to be a 1 against a righty, an 8, and that's a fly ball to right. Right there is Oscar Gamble. Oscar Gamble, I believe, came over from the Cleveland Indians. He also played with the Cubs, I believe, early on. Played with a bunch of teams by the end of his career. Robin Yount, he's 1 for 2. He singled and lined out. That's a 5, so that's off of Hunter. Should be an advantage for the pitcher, and it's a strikeout. So gets Robin Yount on a 3-2 fastball for his 5th strikeout of the day. So Hunter is looking sharp. And here's Pedro Garcia. Pedro Garcia is 1 for 2. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, 3-1 Yankees. Strat-O-Matic, hard to find set, not available in stores. I've seen them for $300 up to $600. I think I have it on eBay for like $5.99. So that's off the pitcher, the 6, and then it's a 7, and that's going to be strike 3, back-to-back Ks for Hunter. So he seems to be getting stronger as the game goes on. Excuse me. And here comes Jim Slayton. I'm going to try to get both pitchers to complete the game. I'd like that. That's why I play a lot of 70s. I like the pitchers to go the distance. If you can't do that today with modern baseball. Let me just slide this over, see if I get a little bit more of dice action. Even though I was really focusing on the cards more than anything. A little bit more. That's going to be a 4. So it's going to be against a lefty, a 4 and a 3, and that's a fly ball left field. And the left fielder is Moore. Moore should be at least a 3 or a 4 in left field. He is a 4. So Moore is a 4 in left field. And we rolled a 20. We're going to see what that is. That's going to be roll again. Roll the 20 again, and this time it's a 15. And Moore will not get there. And that drops in front of Moore, Charlie Moore, who is really not really a catcher primarily, but also plays left field. Today he started playing left field. So that's a little flare that Charlie Moore just does not get to, and Chris Chandler's on at first base with a single, leadoff single, and here's Oscar Gamble. There's some movement in the bullpen for the Brewers. That's a 4, so that's going to be off Slayton against another lefty and a snake eyes, and that's a fly ball towards the line in right field. And that's out number 1. Here comes Greg Nettles. Greg Nettles is 1 for 2. He reached on an error, walked, and then doubled. So he's been on base all 3 times today. Slayton checks in with Porter for the sign and sets and deals to Nettles. It's going to be a 5 against another lefty, 3 lefties in a row, and a 7, and that's strike 3. And that is strikeout number 1 for Jim Slayton. He struck out 138 in almost 300 innings. So he's a little bit behind on his strikeouts in this game. It's only 1 game. All right, so 2 outs, 1 on. Willie Randolph. Randolph today's 1 for 3 into a double play single and then fly out to center. Here's the pitch to Randolph. That's a 6. Randolph's a right-hander. And a 6, and that's a 1-12 single. It's a 17. It's lined and caught by the second baseman, Pedro Garcia. The right place at the right time, positioned perfectly. So Randolph rips it up the middle, but standing right there is Pedro Garcia to rob him of a sure single. Go to the bottom of the 8th inning. No runs and 1 hit, 1 left. Jim Catfish Hunter will be facing the top of the order, starting with Charlie Moore, who's 2 for 3 today. 2 doubles and a flyout. Jim Catfish Hunter came over in '75 to the Yankees from the Athletics after having a tremendous career with the Athletics and playing in 3 World Series. He was their ace during that time. I mean, Vida Blue was on that staff. Kenny Holtzman was on that staff and so forth. But I think Jim Catfish Hunter was their ace. And here's a pitch to Charlie Moore. So that's a 2 and a 7, and that's strike 3, and that's strikeout number 7 for Catfish. Catfish Hunter never thought he was going to make baseball. He's never going to be a baseball player once he had his toe shot off in a hunting accident. Don Money, 0 for 2 with a walk. Pitch from Hunter, that's a 5 and a 3, and that's a fly ball right field. Gamble's got to be a 4. Got to be a 4. I don't see Gamble, who did a lot of DHing. He is a 4 in right field. And we rolled a 17, and that's going to be caught. So nice running catch by Oscar Gamble, who's not really known for his defensive prowess in right field. George Scott now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th, and a 3-1 game. The Yankees lead at 3-1. They scored all 3 runs in that top of the 5th on 2 walks and 3 singles. George Scott, big power hitter. He's 0 for 3 today. Here's a pitch from Hunter, and that's going to be a 2 and an 8, and that's strike 3, and that's number 8 for Hunter. So Hunter's picked up, the last 3 innings, he's picked up 5 Ks. He struck out 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and 2 in the 8th. And here comes 9th inning and the Yankees. And then it'll be last licks. Last licks for the Brewers in the bottom of the 9th. Got a lot going on here on my desk. Got to take a picture of my desk and post it on the Universal Baseball Association Facebook group. Check it out. A lot of different games playing here. All right, so it's going to be Slayton against Dempsey. Let's move this out of the way as well. Got a lot going on. All right. And here's a pitch from Slayton. And that's a 1 and an 8. And that's a ground ball over his Yount, and he throws him out. 1 down. Jim Mason next. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And that's a 3 and a 4, and that's going to be, that's going to be a drive, and that's going to be a drive in the gap, and that's going to bounce off the wall away from the center fielder, Lescano. Digging for around second and digging for third is Mason. Here's the relay and the tag by Money, and he is safe. Eluded the tag, and he's in there with a 1-out triple. Holy smokes, Jim Mason, the light-hitting shortstop, hits a triple. And it does say how many. He had 1 triple, and I guess he hit it then, opening day, on a 1-3 triple on a 4 in column 3 against a right-hander. That's the only triple he's going to have, and he happened to hit it. Yes, sirree. He also has a 1 home run, I believe. Yep, and he hits that at 11, 1-3, 11. You can see that. The 1 triple is 1-3 on a 4. We rolled a 1. You can see that on the screen. And then on a home run, he had 1 home run that season, and he gets it on a 1-3 on an 11, column 3. Interesting. It's really a lot has to do with the dice. All right, so Infield's going to be playing in for the Brewers against Mickey Rivers. Left-handed hitter, and that's a 3 against a righty and an 11, and that's strike 3. Big strikeout, second of the game for Slayton. So he got it when he needed it. Big strikeout of Mickey Rivers, a contact hitter. And here comes Roy White with 2 outs, and Roy White's walked twice, singled, and he's driven in 2 runs in that 5th inning. Yankees lead at 3-1. So the Brewers are trying to prevent the Yanks from scoring anymore. Here's Roy White, his switch hitter, bats from the left side against Jim Slayton. Here's a pitch. That's going to be a 3 against a righty, and that's on White's card. And a 6 is lined and base hit, drops in there, and that'll score another run. 4-1 Yankees. Another RBI for Roy White, so he's starting the season off productively. Here's Thurman Munson, and we definitely have some action. A couple of arms out there warming up in the bullpen, trying to get through this game here. And that's a 1 and a 4, and that's bounced to short. And Yount flips to Garcia to end the inning. So, no, 1 run on a couple of hits. The big hit was that triple by the light-hitting Jim Mason, that surprised everybody in the ballpark. And we go to last licks in a 4-1 game for the Brewers. Catfish Hunter's going for the complete game victory. I told you I wanted to see if I get 2 complete games, and I did. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hits allowed by Slayton. Hunter's only allowed 3, 4, 5, 6. Daryl Porter leading off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. 4-1 Yankees. And that's going to be a 1 and a 6, and that is a fly ball right field. Oscar Gamble is there. Hauls it in for out number 1. Hank Aaron, who's got 2 hits today. And that's going to be a 4. That's going to be off Hunter. A 4 and a 3, and that's a ground ball to Chambliss, who has to be a 2. He's a 3. Okay, fair enough. He's a 3, and I rolled a 9. And that's going to be an out. So Chambliss handles it. So the Hunters 1 out away from victory against in opening day 1976. It's going to be 6 to Lescano, who struck out, lined out, and grounded out into a double play. So here's a pitch. And that's going to be a 3, so that's off Lescano, and a 10, and that's ball 4. So Hunter loses him here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th and a 4-1 Yankee lead. And it's going to be Bill Sharp. He's a left-handed hitter. Pitch from Hunter, and that's going to be a 2. And then an 11, and that's strike 3, ball game over. That's 9 strikeouts for Jim Catfish Hunter. And that's the ball game. No runs, no hits, 1 left. Yankees beat the Brewers 4-1. And I believe it was the Yankees with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. And the Yanks with 6 hits. Errors. Were there any errors in this game? No errors. 1 error was on the shortstop, Robin Yount. So it's 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Yankees, 1 run, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Brewers. Jim Catfish Hunter struck out 173 in close to 300 innings. He was 1 shy of 300 innings, so he had 9 strikeouts in this game, so probably more than you'd expect. So he didn't have 1 strikeout per inning, but in the last 4 innings, he picked up 5, 6 strikeouts. So all of a sudden, everybody started striking out. Again, the luck of the dice, and that's how the dice roll. So that was a blast for me, going back to my days of replaying, the days of my youth, and replaying the 1976 season in Jackson Heights, Queens. If you know New York and you know Queens, there's a lot of dreary, cloudy days, particularly in the fall, the winter, and the spring. A lot of days with snow, a lot of days with rain, and my door, my room was near there were 2 doors to leave the house. Actually, there were 3 doors to leave the house. And my room was right next to one of the doors, and that's where there was a storm door there. And, of course, in between that storm door and the wood door, that's where they would put the carded seasons and so forth every year when they would deliver them. And I would never know, you couldn't tell as you walked up to the door, coming back from school, you couldn't tell. So you'd walk up to the door and it could be within the storm door. So then I'd have to wait to open the storm door, and then the box would kind of plop towards the door, and I would say, it's arrived. And that was an exciting part of growing up. And that's about it. This is Tony Porter, Cards and Dice, Universal Baseball Association Facebook group. Come over and join and get a lot of information and news and about our hobby. And I wish everybody the best. And this is Strat-O-Matic 1976, not available in stores.